Jen.
What's up, Amy?
What's up? Thanks for hopping on with
Yeah,
us.
thanks for having me. I mean, it's been a crazy 24 hours.
Yes, it
Uh,
has.
is
I'm just excited that you can talk to us without getting interrupted and berated and all the things and really bring to light what the situation is. So I'm seriously just going to shut up and let you talk.
so
Not awkward.
it just it's been crazy. It's been crazy. It's funny how media can paint you as what they want the people to see you as in a matter of 24 hours. I mean, to admit to the fault of the way I delivered my statement during the school board meeting, like it does not come without any fault. Like I was at fault. I should have not said it the way I did. We were over 5 hours into the meeting.
Yeah.
Nowhere, yeah, no way did I suggest step of action for those books to burning them. It's my thing with those books. It's let's actually go to another sub where I'm being attacked and where we're being attacked is labeling us as homophobes.
Right.
I want to make something really clear right now about those books. I wasn't against those books whatsoever because of the genders of the individuals in that book. This is whether it's about homosexuality or heterosexuality. This is strictly about the pedophilia and the sexual abuse that was in those books, the context of what's in these books.
Right.
It's so the the biggest thing was like how I feel personally about those books in general. I understand that I have access to sexually explicit material, pornography whatsoever, but that's through TikTok, websites, movies, video games.
Right.
I get that. That's between them and their parents. But
Right.
never should the public education system be another outlet of sexually explicit material that our kids can get their hands on. Labeled
I agree 100%.
homophobe all day long, attacked left and right. I've been attacked left and right on every social media base, and I admit that I admit that the comment about burning him in the fire. I was 5.5 hours into the meeting, and hearing the parent come out and tell us about what's in those books, the fact that she had to make sure there was no students in the board meeting, in the audit, in during the meeting, she had to make sure there was no kids before she explained what's in it.
Yeah.
I said it out of frustration. And like, don't get me wrong, like history has shown that complete censorship, i.e. book burning, has never really been positive for society. But
Right.
like those books, no, I don't believe we should completely burn them. But if parents believe that those books, like they want their children to read them, they should have access to them at a local library.
Right. And it was just to
But
clarify
the
from what
books
I could tell, watching you was you had an emotional reaction. It shocked you. You're human, right? I mean, it's shocking. And you know it's going to be shocking when a parent turns around and faces the room to see if because there might be other kids here. And we're used to some parents do bring their kids, and for her to take that consideration, that tells you a lot right there. But everybody, the way that they're painting it, like you're calling to action to burn books. No, it's they can circulate wherever the hell they want, just not in a public school library. And it was like, I don't care if you throw the book in the trash can, set it on fire, let your dog take a shit on it. Like, who cares? Just get it out of the school library. I understood what you were saying.
And that's what like bugged me the most is the way in 24 hours they've absolutely slung so much mud at my name. Although that I have so many friends in the gay community that we are so close. I don't about me is I don't care who you love, how you love, what makes you happy is your business. I'm not gonna get in the way of you being happy with whoever you want to love. That's none of my business. But when it comes to protecting our children from pedophilia and books about sexual abuse and child prostitution, that's a whole nother story. When parents send their children to their public schools that they pay close to 60% of taxes, It's to learn the basics of math, English, history, science, technology, right? The books that we voted to take out schools, those books don't prepare our students to meet the standards of learning and testing that we hold them accountable for at the end of the school year.
It literally has nothing to do
So
with
for
it.
me, I'm not no, I'm not against the fact that it's the genders of who was loving who in the book. It doesn't. I'm not against who the genders were in the book that were loving each other. I was against the fact that children should not be the public school system should not be an outlet of kids to get their hands on books about pedophilia and sexual abuse. Keep in mind, I fully support this to give our counselors to be fully equipped to help kids who are unfortunately who have dealt with sexual abuse and sexual violence. But that's nothing that should be accessible to all our students.
I agree. And I mean, one of the things that I find that's important for people to realize is all of our children mature at different ages, different times. I have, my daughter's autistic. She would look at LGBTQ plus, for example, and not understand what the hell that is. And then, my fear for her is she may become friends with a transgender kid one day, which is totally cool by me, but potentially get an argument like, no, you're a girl, you're born this way, you're a boy, you're born this way, she's autistic, she's science minded, and there's no in between. There's so many kids in the world like that. So for her to log into a virtual library and read that, her brain's going to explode. And for what? That's not what she's going to school for.
Yeah, and that's where I'm coming from, right? We're not testing students on their sociological issues that are in those books. Sociological issues are stuff of higher learning that are in I'm
right.
Totally cool. College, whatever. Those kids are over the age of consent. They're gonna do whatever they want. And again, these kids can go on TikTok and online websites, movies, games, and they'll be able to check out like pornographic material. But the education system should not be a source of handing over sexually explicit material to students who are not even the age of consent yet.
Right. And for the TikToks and the YouTubes and all of that, that's between the child and the parent. That's up 100%. To them.
That's none of my business. But it just, what blows my mind, Amy, is how I've already admitted fault for my comment. I was frustrated. It was late. We were 6 hours in the meeting. So I couldn't get words. I couldn't articulate the words to help because I was absolutely devastated to hear about what we have in the schools. But it's not, nothing I said last night was against anyone in the LGBTQ plus community. It was about the fact that we have books in the schools that have content of pedophilia, and they have content of sexual abuse and child prostitution.
Yeah. And even, not even just pedophilia and prostitution, but, and this is just me talking, sex in general. When you have a book describing of an underage boy describing what the penis of an adult man tastes like, that's a problem. That's insane to me. There's a lot of kids in school that haven't even kissed another person yet they're reading a description of this from our school. And guess what? Parents don't know about it.
And that's
just
and
crazy
that goes
to me.
back to the pedophilia. Yeah, and that's about the pedophilia in the schools. My main thing is to protect the students from that pedophilia. I've spoken to over 20 people today who are like, these books are going to help kids get out of what they're going through. So they should still be available to those students through a community library or somewhere outside the public school system. In the public school system, our job is to better prepare those kids in the topics of history, science, maths, English, and technology. But let us better prepare them for the topics that we're going to test them on at the end of the year. Let's focus on the core. And that's what blows my mind, Amy. That is what blows my mind the most. Me, out of all people, get homophobe when I personally encourage everyone. I encourage anyone, whoever, to live their lives with whoever they want to be and whoever makes them happy, and has the right to like insult or look down upon an individual on who they are and who they choose to love. That's not me. That's not who I am as a person. But when it comes to protecting our children from books of pedophilia and child prostitution and sexual abuse and everything, that does not belong in our schools.
No, it
That does
doesn't.
not
And I
belong
just
in
want
our
to
schools.
clarify, I want to clarify something. The two arguments that I've heard in the last 24 hours, they're both the same. Have you read the books? Actually, yes, I have. I've been looking at these books for the past 5 weeks. And guess what? A lot of the books are incredible stories. They truly are incredible stories, but they still don't belong in a school library. So, you know, as a school counselor, if you have a student come in and you know that they're going through a certain situation, I don't want to get very graphic. I've been through things as a child, I get it. And you think, hey, you know, this book, you know, this girl went through the same thing, and I think you can find courage from her. I recommend this book. I'm going to shoot mom and dad an email or a friend or a trusted caretaker, caregiver, and show you how to find the book. We're not going to give it to you. We're just not. And what frustrated me the most out of the board meeting was all the back and forth spent on, should we do it? Should we table it? Should we this? Should we that? We need criteria to determine what sexual content is okay and what sexual content is not. None is. So stop worrying about providing our kids with books describing sex in great detail like that. And let's focus on like getting our kids to school on time on the bus. Like our energy is in the wrong place.
Yep.
It
Yep.
truly is.
And it's sad that I have to spend energy on, and I don't mind it. I'm a person, I'm super personable. Like if you're living your best life with whoever you want to, I'm not going to get in the way of that. But the way the media, their job is to grab something to get people to really click on that article. And people have just seen Abuismail and Twig, let's burn books. Never during that meeting did we suggest that the next course of action should be to burn those books.
No,
right?
not at all.
Not once. My main thing is I'm not wanting to get rid of this books completely. Let's erase them from the face of the planet. No, let's make them available to the parents who feel that they want their children to read it. Let's keep them in the community library. And in our public school system, let's focus on the core arithmetic, English, science, history. Let our students succeed in the topics they need to succeed in and pass the test. And for me, I'm not personally for the SOLs, but the SOLs, we test them on math and history. We don't test them on sexual preferences.
Yet we're
So
surveying them. I'm seeing a lot of that
there's
going on. It's kind of interesting.
Yeah, and again, it has nothing. None of my. And Amy, what the funniest thing is, Amy, that I wasn't the one to put up this motion, and it passed 6-0. But yet, I'm getting all the hate for wanting to ban these books.
All because you were frustrated and had an emotional response. Well, I'll say this to everyone who's watching now and everyone who's going to watch this later on. I appreciated your emotional response because that told me that you felt something, that genuinely bothered you, and that told me that your character and your core, you gave a shit. I can see which board members up there truly didn't care and which ones did, with the exception of one because she wasn't there, so I can't give my opinion either way there. But you had an emotional response and you felt something, and that I appreciated, and that makes me feel hopeful that our kids are going to be okay. They're going to be okay. You know, and another thing to point out, I saw it in some of the comments. I've seen it a couple times where we had social workers up there giving public comment about the homeless children and all the things. And then the moment this mom from Riverbend starts talking about the sexually explicit books, they all left. What the hell was that? Like they all just left. We don't care about that? You're social workers. Why don't we care about that? I noticed that. Everyone noticed that.
And here's the thing about the social workers. I was the main target of those social workers, especially me and Mr. Twig. After I heard what they had to say, I ran all the way around the building just to meet them in the front to hand them $80 to donate to their cause.
Yeah, when
And
you
yet
got
I
up
was the one being
and left, I
attacked the
saw
entirety of
that.
the meeting. I wanted to hand them $80. I wanted to make the donation. I saw people in need and I want to make the donation. And now here I am being labeled a homophobe. Although I'm words, guys, live your best life. Love who you want to love. Be loved by who you want to be loved. But nothing, whether it's homosexual or heterosexual, nothing with sexually explicit material should be a public school system.